I went to Los Angeles to see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard at Hollywood Bowl. I flew down specifically for the concert. I saw they were going on the West Coast. I was like, oh, LA, I have a brother I can stay with there. Great. I'll fly down. I'll go. So this is the story of my experience. So I'm going to talk about the traveling, and then I'm going to talk about the actual concert itself, and then what I think of the band overall. Okay, so I like to tell these stories very chronologically just because it's part of it is not everyone gets to travel anymore, or some people never get to travel, or some people maybe want to travel, but they don't know what it's like. Or maybe you're a woman and you're like, oh, I'm afraid to go somewhere alone, whatever. So I just want to show what it's like and what that experience is like, and that it's to make it less scary. And also some people can't travel anymore and they kind of live vicariously through me. So that's also part of it. So in this video, I'm just talking about what I decided to wear, which was like very bright colors, but that's just how I am. I'm kind of into the whole like 80s fitness instructor vibe. And then I basically drove myself to the airport. So that should be perfect timing to get to the Hollywood. Yeah, no, the flight was running on time. Captain's log. I parked right at the airport. It was cheaper. By the way, I prepaid online and it was a lot cheaper for short-term parking. It was cheaper for me to do that than to Uber to and from the airport. Okay, I made it to the parking garage. Yep. Okay, boring. Look how small my little bag was. I wasn't sure what the Hollywood Bowl like security was going to be like, so I didn't want to push it with like a huge bag, and plus I was just flying back the next morning, so I just wore what I was going to wear to the concert, and then I had like something to sleep in and something to wear the next day. So anyway, so then I'm in the airport. I'm flying out on United and in Southwest, and luckily the parking garage is like super small. The parking garage is great. Like you can just walk. But it's in between the terminals. I took pictures of this construction. Terminal 3, this is me walking through the United terminal. The only funny thing is that they put our flight to Burbank, which is a 1-hour flight, in the international terminal. So I had to walk really far, and it was at the very end of the international terminal because basically our plane had come in from Cabo San Lucas. And so I was next to a plane that was going to Frankfurt, and then it was like us going to Burbank, and it was kind of funny because every other plane in that terminal are going some cool exotic place, and I was like, oh, we're going to Burbank, cool. Yeah, again, for some reason, like we're in the international terminal, and that flight is going to Frankfurt, Germany, and on this side, we're going to Burbank. Yep, going to Burbank. So we boarded. I had the nice window seat, got to take some pictures coming into LA. I love it. Love Burbank Airport. So easy, and you just like exit onto stairs. They don't even have like proper gates, you know? It's like a door and then you go up stairs. So it's so easy. All right, I made it curbside at Burbank Airport even after using the bathroom at 5:55 p.m. The stated start time is 7. Apparently they go on at 7:30 sharp according to their set list. So yeah, basically I went straight to Burbank Airport. Uber was so easy. There's the Hollywood Bowl sign. Very iconic. All right, I made it to the drop-off point for the Hollywood Bowl. It's there. I'll show you guys in a second. So then you can walk under this tunnel to the Hollywood Bowl from the Uber lot. Very convenient. You don't have to cross the street. So this is the plaza right before you go into the actual Hollywood Bowl, and that's where they scan your tickets. But it's kind of nice. They have like a little like place to sit, grab a drink. Yep. So, yep. By the way, because it was a symphony event, you can basically bring your own picnic. It was so chill. I don't really buy merchandise anyway, but there was really long merch lines. See, how people are like having their little picnic. Nice Sunday afternoon in LA. Since I was alone, I didn't even take pictures of me, so they have like a selfie mirror in the bathroom. So that's convenient. That's what I was wearing. All right, this is the vibe. Oh yeah, so I pre-ordered. I had never done this before, but you can pre-order food and drinks from a menu, and so I did that. And so when I got there, my little half bottle of Prosecco was already there on ice. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. So I ordered that, and I ordered a charcuterie plate. This is what the vibe looks like, because I was down near the front, so I could look back and see the rest of the bowl. This is how close I was to the stage.
This is the Prosecco I pre-ordered. It's already here.
By the way, this woman behind me, I think she's the one that slapped me on the back, just so you know. That's going to come up in the story later if you guys, this woman. It's going to come up later. It's not that important. Like, I already made a lot of TikToks about it, so I'm trying to not make this video about that, but it will come up at the very end. So I took some selfies, and then this is me being creative of like, what if I put the phone on a chair and try to like take a video, and then maybe I can get a picture of me. Anyway, none of these turned out great, but you know, I like the colors. It's so bright versus like the blues, you know. That's me. I was the first person there, so just drinking my wine. Anyway, there's my charcuterie plate. It was actually really good, and I thought that was the best value thing on the menu because that was like $30, but it was a lot of cheese, a lot of prosciutto. Like the toast was so good. The box lunches were kind of pricey, and they were like a lot of food. I just didn't need that much food, so the security faces backwards, which is interesting. Okay, then they just like came on straight up at like 7:22. It was just like suddenly. So it started pretty abruptly.
All right, you ready for this? Cool.
See how good the audio sounded? It sounded so good. Even my iPhone picked it up so nicely. And then people were already starting to stand. We were still seated, by the way, because there were still like dinner vibes going on. I liked him. He was like a legit singer. He kind of was like a front man at times and would like come out and like sing with the mic and everything. See how good the sound was though? It was just such a good quality. Look how many people there were. Isn't that a pretty picture? And then the sun starts to go down. Yeah. So cool, right? Yeah, it sounded so good with the orchestra. And there's just so many people in the band. A drummer, 4, 5. There's 6 people total. So they're just making a lot of sound, then adding an entire orchestra And then sometimes they'd play like acoustic guitars, or they had a few different types of guitar choices to choose from. Look how good the audio quality is. Like even with listening to it on these like headphones, it sounds so good. I liked his voice, and I liked that he was very emotive with his singing. He had expressions. He has little percussion instruments. So at this point, barely anyone was dancing. So this guy, I took a video of him because he was dancing, and I thought he was very cute and enthusiastic. I was like, oh, cute. Okay. Okay.
Singing the story. Life is good and happy. So be early.
Sounds so good. It just sounds so good. The orchestra and the sound quality of the bowl, it just sounded so good. Okay, then I think this is when the orchestra took their break. Okay, so this is where, again, we were all sitting. I was respecting the vibe of the symphony people, even though they're playing mostly their new album. And then this is the first time I heard King Gizzard jam. Okay, they send the orchestra away, and then they go into their jam. And I was very impressed. I was like, okay, they are kind of a jam. You know, some people have told me, oh, King Gizzard's not a jam band. I'm like, I mean, they are. They just have, I guess, prog rock is, their songs are different than some other jam band type music, but they are a jam band. I mean, I could see that they could jam really well once I got to this part.
How was your dinner, everyone, down the front? Was it good?
Oh, yeah. Then they were like saying, oh, everyone who had the fish are going to have food poisoning. And they asked the audience for cake, and then they ate cake. Someone gave them cake. They ate it on stage. They're throwing popcorn at each other. I mean, these people are definitely wild, you know, like anti-establishment rock band, but political. They said like all billionaires should go to jail. And some other political things. So definitely not, I think some of the symphonic crowd was shocked. Like they didn't know what they were going to. Like they were just like, oh, a nice Hollywood Bowl orchestra show. They didn't know it was going to be King Gizzard. Sounds so good. Oh my God, it's so good. I freaking loved it. So I think now we're standing because the kid next to me is like, hey, I think we can dance now. And I was like, F yeah, let's effing dance. And look how dark it was. Look at the lights. Look at what they're doing now. Look at the type of music they're playing. Compared to the first half of the orchestra where you could tell it was more rehearsed and they were not doing improvisational. They were like rehearsing with the band and like they had done everything as expected. And it had just kind of orchestral colors around their compositions. Now we're getting into what they're known for, their bread and butter. I was so into it. Do you hear all that? It's so good. The different sounds of the guitars. There was even a harmonica there, I think. Oh yeah, so good. Okay, look. And did I take a few selfie videos? Yes. So sue me. But short, very short, 3-second clips, then I'd stop and I mostly dance. And by the way, these are the only videos I took the whole night. And that by this point, already hours, like an hour had already gone by, and I would take those quick 10-second clips, maybe of each song, right? Like, okay, here's a new song, 10 clips. Then the rest I just danced and enjoyed, or just listened and enjoyed. I was not on my phone. I was really in the moment. Wow, so good. To hear how hard they're going, though, they're going hard. That percussion, so fast, so good. Can you believe there's people just behind me just sitting? Like, can you believe that? It was going so hard. The lights were so crazy. There's a few people standing. I mean, to the right, a lot more people were standing, but for whatever reason, my row of people were just like the most dull concert goers of all time. So good. Okay, then they things is getting crazier. The visuals got wilder and wilder throughout the rest of the night. Yeah, orchestra came back, but then look how enhanced these pieces are. It's so beautiful. Isn't that just such a pretty song? And then added in with the orchestra, and their singing is so nice. I loved that song. It was so like da, 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 and kind of like interesting melody. Castle. Yeah, I don't think this is in a straight meter. I was trying to figure it out while they're playing it. I was like, is this in 7? Is this in 11? It's definitely not a straightforward rhythm, and I was trying to like figure it out as I'm going because it was so interesting to me. I love that song. I was like, that is so cool. And again, it was like in some weird meter. I was like very intrigued by it. I was trying to really understand it. See how hard that is? That's just like, ah. Like, how are you supposed to sit through that? That's the woman who hit me, by the way. No one cares. So good. Like, how can these people just sit there being like, I mean, those rhythms they're playing against the drums, and it's like, I was like, oh my God, it's so good. I zoomed in on his feet because I was like, oh my God, he's barefoot. And then he kind of like bent his toes over the stage. And I was like, that's kind of weird, but okay. Oh yeah, that's when they left after they hit me. So I took that after the people behind me left. So yeah, basically right as the last song was starting, Iron Lung. I mean, it's so good. Okay, so yeah, so I loved it. Like, I was having such a good time. The kid next to me, he loved King Gizzard. He was a big fan of like the Grateful Dead and just like a lot of other jam bands and stuff. And he was like, "Oh my God, I love King Gizzard. I've seen them multiple times." Blah 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 blah. And so he'd like even explain things to me, like, "Oh, this is from the such and such album. Oh yeah, this album was a little more like this." Like he was like telling me things, and it was really cool. He was like so excited to see me react to my first King Gizzard concert. Like honestly, and the music, as you can see, the first half I sat and just enjoyed it, and the symphonic sounds was so nice. And then the second half, they turned those lights way up. They started jamming real hard. Things got really intense. The rhythms are wild. They're doing all these crazy compound things. The guitars, they're all going. There's so many people in their band, so they're making so much sound. Adding the orchestra on top of that. It's such, and look how good the sound quality is. Like, I'm actually so glad I took these videos because as I'm listening with these professional headphones, I'm like, oh my God, this is like really good quality. Like really, really good quality. So I'm so impressed. I really, 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 really liked it. And then, yes, as some of you may have heard from a video short I posted, right as the last song was starting, the woman behind me gave me a shove on my back and then said, "The next time you want to dance in front of someone, you might want to ask first." And I was like, no. So anyway, she hit me. I was like, what the F? Why is this woman shoving me? I didn't want to like ruin the guy. I was sitting at that point. She was standing over me as she left, hit me, whatever. I didn't tell the kid next to me because he was having a good time. I don't want to bring down his vibe. It's just like his favorite band and he was dancing. And what was I going to say? So I was like, whatever. So ultimately, I guess it's resolved with the Hollywood Bowl in that they refunded my ticket because I said it's kind of messed up that I got shoved and that someone made me feel bad for dancing. They said that I was in the right to dance, by the way. They're like, you were in the right to dance. Our policy is to usually side with the dancer, especially if the event is something like this where the band is encouraging dancing. If it had been a purely symphonic concert and I was standing, then they would have asked me to sit, right? That would have been the policy, but this is not that case. This is this case. So the Hollywood Bowl told me I was in the right, she was in the wrong. She shouldn't have shoved me, and she shouldn't have been so rude to me for standing. And yeah, I was like super excited. Now, I would have preferred that they had a pit in the front and I would have totally bought a floor ticket. I would have bought a GA floor ticket. I tend to buy GA floor tickets whenever I can because I like to dance and I like to be up front, and I like to be right there. So I bought this because it's up front, and the Hollywood Bowl wasn't doing a mosh pit or whatever, the pool. Sometimes they arrange that bottom part, they call it the pool. It used to be a pool, actually. It used to actually be water, apparently. So I would have bought a GA ticket. But look how good the sound quality was from there. I mean, like, I really loved the sound experience I was getting from my seat. I don't know what it sounded like in the back. You know, I wasn't like, oh, I should buy a seat in the back just in case I want to dance and the people behind me don't want to dance. I mean, like, I didn't expect that to even be an issue. And again, as I've repeated multiple times, I sat during the whole first half while people were pretty much still eating, while the vibe was more symphonic, while the sun was still up. And I only stood up in that second half once the orchestra left the stage. The band went on this long jam. How could we not dance? Also, my seatmate next to me was in concordance with me, like, we should dance, right? I was like, yes, we should dance. We were in agreement in our box on our level to dance. And then people to our right were all standing in our same row too. They were just in different boxes than us. So it was a vibe. And the Hollywood Bowl has agreed that I was on the right, and they have refunded my ticket. So I'm going to drop it with that. Like, I'm not going to press charges against the woman. I will just wanted them to contact her. Some people think she should be banned and all that. And I'm like, all I would have wanted is an apology. And I know they know who she is. They have the patron number. They know the seat. I just wanted her to be like, hey, by the way, like, we understand there was an incident and you kind of really, like, upset the woman who you shoved because she was there alone. And I didn't expect to be shoved by someone, because when you go to a concert like King Gizzard, I had friends reaching out before being like, oh, be careful, there's a mosh pit. They saw them on the East Coast and they're like, oh, there's like a mosh pit and some girls are getting crowd surfed. Like, I wouldn't go in the pit at this kind of concert. You're going to get shoved. There's going to be mosh pitting. They're going to be shoving you. They're going to lift you up. They're like, be careful. And I was like, okay, don't worry. I'm in a box seat. No one's going to hurt me. So I just didn't expect to be shoved by a woman of all people. I thought maybe you'd get hit in a mosh pit because some kid runs into you because he's just getting too enthusiastic about his dancing, right? I didn't expect that a woman shoves me and then says something rude to me. Had she asked me in the middle of the concert to sit, I probably would have. I probably would have been a little upset about it. But if she had been polite about it and like, oh, I really can't see, we really want to see, I would have been like, okay. And then if I had really felt compelled to dance, I could have tried to find like an empty seat further back that maybe people are dancing in. I wouldn't block someone. I would have done that. I really would have. I'm not trying to be like annoying or anything like that. And of this 2-hour concert, it went from like 7:20 till 10:40, I'd say, with no intermission. So 2 hours and 20 about. Of that entire concert, all the video clips I showed you were the only time I picked up my phone. So those are like 5-second clips, 10-second clips, 20-second clips. So like all cumulatively, everything I played you is all I had. The rest of the time I was off my phone. As you see, 9 seconds, 6 seconds. These are mostly short clips under 20 seconds. And that was all before the concert. My first clip was here. And my last clip, as I showed you. So I did not take that much video. I was not taping the whole time. Yes, did I take a few selfies? Yes. Is that annoying? Yes. But I'm also here documenting things. I'm being a journalist. Like, I don't have anyone with me to film me, so I have to film myself sometimes. And I did it very discreetly. I tried to have it blocked so like people behind me weren't in it. I was very conscious of that, by the way, when I take those. I'm like, okay, let's try to mitigate how many people are in it. Try to hold it closer to my face so that my face is blocking people behind me. Like, I am thinking about all those issues, by the way. I'm not just completely blatantly doing it. And I did it very minimally. And I tried to not do that the whole concert, right? I just did it very briefly. They were gone at this point. I took that to be like, oh yeah, here's me. And the people behind me kind of shoved me. And, you know, it's annoying. But people were offended. I heard, you know, people were shocked when they said like all billionaires should go to jail, because a lot of these people were the wealthy people. And they're saying these like anti-establishment things and like throwing popcorn on stage at each other in a symphonic setting. How dare they, you know? And some people were very shocked by it. And I don't think the Hollywood Bowl did a good job of preparing their symphony patrons for what King Gizzard is and what they're about, because it's totally the opposite vibe of like a prim and proper symphony. And remember, guys, I went to music school. I have a classical music degree. I'm an opera singer. I'm all for symphonic decorum. For example, you don't clap until the end of a sonata. You don't clap between movements of a symphony. In an opera, you shouldn't clap in the middle if the soprano holds a high note. You have to wait till the end of the aria. Okay, so I'm all about decorum in classical music and maintaining that decorum, not yelling in the wrong times, not standing. Like, I'm all about classical music decorum. But when you're in a situation where most of the people there were coming for King Gizzard, I saw so many King Gizzard fans wearing King Gizzard gear and just general jam band people. I saw people from the Grateful Dead 60th there. This woman who I was standing near in San Francisco the weekend before, I was like, oh my God, you were at the Grateful Dead 60th. I'm like, yeah. So it's like the jam band community's coming out, like the jam band people, the people on the bus, Groove Safe is there. It's a jam band event. Like, it's for sure a jam band thing that happened to also have the patron people of the Hollywood Bowl who go to the symphony events. So it makes for a very weird crowd because you're getting these older people who, and it was funny because when I arrived, there was these older people and they were all picnicking. And you can actually what I learned about the Hollywood Bowl events is you can pretty much bring whatever you want. You can bring wine bottles, you can bring food, you can bring coolers, you can bring a whole freaking an array. So I could have brought wine bottles in. You could bring food, so they're there early, they're eating, they're having such a good time, like two couples together, like, oh yes, let's go to the Hollywood Bowl on Sunday night and hear some music, and like drink our wine and eat our fancy stuff. So it was definitely the vibe. And funny, but then when the lights got dark and then the lights came on and King Gizzard's flashing and they're playing so hard and aggressively, and their song and some of their subject matter is quite dark and intense, and it's very challenging. It's definitely controversial, or it makes you feel angst. It's very angsty. So that's the type of music it is, and it's supposed to be like that. So I think it's cool. And by the way, I think what they did with the symphony was absolute art, like putting together, adding in the symphonic colors on top of their band that already has such interesting colors with their distortions they use. They have multiple people singing. They have, strong vocals. They have strong guitars, strong bass, sometimes these keyboard instruments and little percussion things that the singer plays, and the drummer is just out of this world good. I mean, they are so good and they could jam. So I was like, until I heard them do their jam thing, like an hour in after the symphony took their break, that's when I got the most impressed. Because I was like, oh, their songs are cool and sounds good and I love the arrangement with the orchestra. But then once they went into their, like, just the six of them and they just went into their jam section, I was like, oh yeah, I'm all in on King Gizzard. Like, I'm in, because I love jams. No one would have ever thought, when I first heard Fish a year ago, no one would have thought that the thing I ended up loving most is the jams. And that now songs for me are simply jam vehicles. Even with the Grateful Dead, I was not into some of their songs. Like, I wasn't in Eyes of the World. But then as a jam vehicle, Eyes of the World is a good jam vehicle. I care for it more than I care for the song. The difference is with the King Gizzards, I actually like their style of music. I like this prog rock. I like this darker, angsty, cool sounding. I don't know how to describe it, but it just has such a color to it. It's so different than Fish, for example, like completely different in the style of music. So different than the Grateful Dead. Like, they are their own little genre. But see, I like bands like Muse, and I like indie rock. And I like prog rock. Like, I like weird stuff like that. So I actually was like, I love the actual music of King Gizzard, but then on top of it, they can jam too. I was like, whoa, this is great, So I'm really into it. And yeah, I just think the only thing was, I don't know how they balance this issue where you have these venues that are all like older symphony people, and then you have the fans who just want to like mosh, but there's no mosh pit set up. And then if you're way out in the back and they have like, in the back, it's not box seating, it's like benches. So, it's probably more prone for dancing, right? Because you're not seating at like a table, whatever. But overall, it's such a beautiful venue, and the sound quality is amazing. Did you guys hear how good the sound quality sounded? So imagine me sitting there just being like, this sound is so stunning. I'm like so immersed in it. Like I said, the only videos I took were the ones I showed you. So for the rest of the 2 hours and 20 minutes of all those videos combined, it's like 5 minutes of video footage, and that's 2 hours and 15 minutes of not taking video. So for 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'm completely immersed in this concert until the very end when they're like, oh, now we're playing Iron Lung. And I had like, I had just heard Iron Young Lung that day or the day before, because I did my first King Gizzard reaction, and it happened to be Iron Lung, which is like their most famous good song. I was like, great, the one I know. And right after that is when she shoves me. And I was like, God frickin' A. Like and then I got put into a really weird place where I couldn't like get myself out of it. Like I was trying to like get out of my head at that point and go back into the music, but my shoulder was like actually hurting. And also I had just like worked out a lot the day before. I had done some golf swinging, and so that shoulder happened to be a bit tight. And so it happens to be that if you have soreness and then you get that area hit when you're already sore, it tends to be worse. So because I had been sore from the day before, and then she happened to hit that exact spot, it was especially sensitive. So that's why I think also I reacted in such a it kind of just overtook my body, and I was like, that's kind of messed up, you know? So yes, I'm glad they refunded me my ticket. I'm glad they reached out. I'm glad they tried to resolve it. It was nice that they offered me to come back, but I was like, I'd rather just get a refund, honestly, because it made it, it's like, I was like, okay, I can be a woman, an independent woman going places alone, you know, ever since I've been single, since my last big long relationship. And, you know, I used to be married. Doing things alone is really scary. I was married very young. I was married at 21. So I was used to always having like a male companion. So doing things on your own is something I really had to learn how to do, and to take the independence to be like, I can just fly to LA and then get an Uber and just go to this venue and just sit with random people. And everything was lovely about the people I was with, and the people I met were so kind and whatever. And the irony of it all was that the person who ended up being the cruelest to me was a woman. So it's just what it is. And people think it was jealousy. And yes, I appear younger than I am. I'm wearing bright colors. I'm dressed in tight clothing. Like I could see how that could be a very, you know, like triggering thing for someone who's not happy with themselves. But still, it's like, it's so weird. Like it wasn't some mosh pit 20-year-old that jammed into me that got me hurt at a King Gizzard. It was a woman who was angry that I danced in front of her. And she didn't go after the guy. She went after me, because I was the actual target with him. And I also, sometimes that older generation, like men can do no wrong, but like women can be blamed for everything. I think it's a little bit of that. It's like, oh, well, he's just a young boy. Like I can't go after him, but this woman should know better. Or like, how dare she dance up in front of my husband and he's looking at her and blah, blah, blah. I don't know exactly what, but it was very rude. And I would never say that to another woman. I would definitely never like come from behind and slap someone on the shoulder. If she had even just been like tap, tap, I would have been like, okay. But if she had still said the rude thing, I would have been mad, because what she said was really mean. And the Hollywood Bowl confirmed she's in the wrong, because it was a dancing event and they would have sided with the dancer anyway. And I wasn't supposed to move. I was supposed to stay in my seat. Tough luck. And it's not on me to look behind me and be like, oh, well, I'm going to be blocking all these people. Also, it's if you're so into symphony, you're not even supposed to really see at a symphony. Symphonies don't really matter. Sometimes I buy the worst seats in the Davies Symphony Hall, because it's about the sound in the symphony hall. It's not about seeing the violinists play, okay? It's about the sound you hear in the symphony. It doesn't need to be a visual experience. So, like, it's just funny that it's like, oh, wait, we actually want to see all these visuals on the screen. And there was a screen to their left that they could also watch. And they could have just asked nicely. I mean, there's so many things that she could have done before, but like, that's the only bad thing that happened. But overall, I'm really glad I heard King Gizzard. I really like their sound. The sound quality was so good. Doing this reaction video actually brought me back into it, to all the happy feelings I felt and all the good memories from that night. And the feeling of just like being enthralled and being in this beautiful outdoor venue, all the sun goes down, and hearing beautiful music and so complex rhythms and stuff like that. So like, I'm really glad I'm doing this reaction now, because it took me like a few days to process the bad thing that happened. But now that the Hollywood Bowl has refunded me, at least I feel better about it. I mean, I still spent my money to go down. So I'm so glad I went. Like overall, I wish she hadn't hit me. And I don't know, like, I'm glad the Hollywood Bowl said I'm right and she's wrong. So, hey, whatever. And that's it. I still think they should, like, scold her a bit, or be like, hey, just so you know, don't hit someone in front of you. Like, they know who she is and they're just, like, choosing not to do it. I don't know if it's because she's important or wealthy or a big donor, but that's still not okay. Like, you just don't do that. And she could just write me an email and apologize. And I'd be like, hey, sorry. And if that ever happens again, I'm a kind of person that doesn't like to cause trouble. If she had just said like, hey, I really want to see and I can't stand or something, I've been like, fine, I'll just like deal with it or whatever. It could have panned out a different way, but I'm really glad. So for the 2 hours of the concert, I had a really great time. And only in that last 15 minutes where she shoved me, then I was not, but refreshing on the beginning of the concert makes me feel so happy that I went. And so I'm so glad I got to see them, and I would definitely see them again. And I would go back to the Hollywood Bowl. I just think it might be better to go for like a Live Nation event and not their symphony stuff. Unless I'm going straight for, I'm cool with pure symphony. Because like I said, I like the symphony. I like classical music. I'd be down to go and just do a symphonic thing that doesn't have dancing and just bring my wine bottles and just like chill out and have fun picnic with friends and listen to beautiful music in a beautiful setting. But it'd be hard to go there if it's one of these events where I want to dance and people behind me want to sit. It's like, ugh. So I don't know. That's my assessment of it. Beautiful venue, good food that they serve. They have table service down there. You can order drinks. They bring it to you. I mean, that's awesome. Bar service. What's not to like? I couldn't find the water bottle station, even though they kept telling me where it was, but like I could not find it. They're like, oh, it's at the top of the escalator. I was like, I did not see it. I might be blind. I couldn't find any of the water bottle stations. Bathroom never had line. People were genuinely pleasant. People seemed very nice. Everyone was having a good time. But yeah, definitely some of the symphony patrons looked shocked, like by some of the music and things that the King Gizzard was doing on stage. So they were like, oh my God, this is the most crazy thing I've ever seen. And so people should have told them what it was going to be and what King Gizzard concerts can be like. But I'm so glad I saw them while they're on the West Coast because I don't know when they're going to come back. And I can do LA really easily because my brother lives there. So after the concert, I Ubered to my brother's house, went to bed, and basically flew back the next morning, 6:30 a.m. flight, and I was back at work the next day. So that's the whole summary of the whole thing. And I would do that again. I would fly down and go to a concert in LA. No, of course I would. But yeah, hopefully, you can, people like me, we can be very polarizing for people because I stand out, I'm confident, I'm happy. If you're really unhappy, sometimes happy people make you feel miserable. So it's not my problem. But overall, great experience. And yeah, King Gizzard is awesome. I can't wait to hear more of their songs. And I actually really like their music and their jamming. I like both. Okay, bye.